everyone, this is Jackie Williams, and today I want to share with you a double opening pull-out card. And I've got a couple of different versions to show you, and then I'm going to do one with you. I'll modify it again a little bit. So I'm going to use the Boho Blossoms bundle, or medley I should say, which includes these papers and these dies. And it opens like this and then just pulls out like so. And then this piece here fits into the window on the front. And then another version I used instead the scallop rectangles, but it's the same concept. So I'm going to make kind of a hybrid of these two, the things that I like out of both of them, and make that with you. So the first thing we want to do is start with a standard size card front, and I'll put on the video the measurements, probably somewhere up here in the corner. And this is very vanilla, and you'll want to use the thick very vanilla. And then I have a mat of Night of Navy, and then another just slightly smaller piece of the Boho Medley papers. And you can choose to use the darker sides or the lighter side, whichever you prefer. And I'm going to go for the darker side with this one. Then the next thing I'm going to have you do is just adhere these two pieces together, but I just want you to put adhesive around the four edges. So no adhesive through the middle. And then go ahead and put those two together. We're going to use the Stitch So Sweetly dies, which is this really cute set of various little stitch labels and then stitched rectangles. And I pulled out the second largest stitched rectangle, and we're going to do all the layering and nesting for this card just using this one die. So what I'm going to do is place this about where I want my window to sit on. Actually, excuse me, one more thing. I'm going to open up the card. This is the only tricky part of the card. So once you've done this part, then you are good to go. So let me just reiterate. These two pieces are adhered together, or you could just do one layer if you preferred. And then we're just going to set it on our card front without adhering it. And then we're going to place our die about where we want it to sit on our card, and we're going to run that through the die cutter. Now it is 3 layers. So it may not cut all of the layers. So you may have to run it through once and then maybe take the top 2 layers away and then run it through one more time to get that 3rd layer cut. Okay, so there we go. We've got all of these pieces cut. Now these pieces, just set those aside. We're going to use the blue one later, or the Night of Navy one later. now then this piece, I'm going to put up on dimensionals onto our card front. Now, if you find that it doesn't quite fit, you may have inadvertently turned it around. Excuse me, I have the hiccups. Let me just see which way was better, because it looks like they both ways fit. I must have gotten it really smack in the middle. And then go ahead and put dimensionals on here, or foam strips if you've got those. And be relatively generous with your dimensionals. If you have black dimensionals, even better. Okay, now we're going to center that up over that opening. The reason why I've put this piece up on dimensionals is that I noted that if it was down flat, then this tended to stick a little bit when you tried to open it, which isn't really a big deal. But I'm thinking that putting it up on dimensionals will just assist that somewhat. Okay, so that is the hard bit done. Now then we have our inside piece is another card. And this piece is basically just your standard size card, and then I've trimmed a little bit off of 2 sides. And that's going to go in opening this direction. And obviously I've just folded it in half. And then we want to just fold it in half again. So you don't need to measure. Whoops, bent that. But you do want to get that, use your bone folder and get those creases really flat. Okay, so we'll go ahead and put that on. And then I've also added a Night of Navy matte that's going to just sit underneath this piece. This Night of Navy matte is definitely an extra, but I just felt that it was a little bit too much vanilla, basically, without it. So the inside of your card will look like this. Now then, to create our centerpiece, we need to have a Night of Navy, a Night of Navy scalloped rectangle. And this is the same size as the one that we just cut. So you could use the one that just came out of this mat or a different one. Now to do our inside panel, we need to create a frame that's going to sit around this opening. So basically I have cut a piece of Night of Navy that is larger than this rectangle. And let me just measure it. So it's 3 inches by 4 1/8 inch. And then I cut using the exact same die that I used before, cut that right out of the middle of this. And then we're going to go ahead and adhere this piece onto the, or around the opening, I should say. And I'm going to use glue for this. One, it's too thin of a piece to use a tape runner. But also glue gives you the ability to adjust it a little bit while you're putting it on. All right, then our Night of Navy panel that's going to sit inside the frame. I decided the easiest way to do this would be to put glue on one half and glue again so that we can wiggle it a little bit. Have your card closed and then just slip this in through that gap. And then it will match up. It should match up right where it's supposed to be. Okay. Then I have cut a piece of very vanilla to fit inside of this rectangle. And that measures 2 1/8 inch by 3 1/4. And then we're just going to embellish from here. So I'll move that aside. And the first thing we're going to do is stamp the For You on there. I didn't really have room to do the For You horizontally. And I couldn't really put a tag on here. You can't have any elements that are off of that rectangle because then it will catch on the opening when it opens. So I just did it along the side, but I actually quite like that. It's just something a little different. Okay, just a little For You. And this For You is from the stamp set Itty Bitty Greetings. It's a great one to have in your stash. It's just a lot of little words, like little tiny sayings. To do the vase, we're going to use the Boho Indigo stamp set. And I've chosen to use this vase. And I tried a lot of different combinations, and I decided what I liked the best was to stamp using crumb cake ink on crumb cake cardstock. And you will need to have a stamp mat underneath you to get a good impression. And when I was doing this, I actually did like 3 or 4 of them just to see which one I liked the best. And then we'll use the Boho Indigo dies to pick whichever vase you like the best and cut that out using your little framelits that coordinate. Okay, there we go. And I'm going to put that up on dimensionals, the vase. Now I'm intentionally not putting any dimensionals up here around the neck of the vase. And I'm going to put this down very close to the bottom. I personally think it looks a little odd when you have elements like this that are just floating. So if it's relatively close to the bottom, that might have been a little bit too close, but that's okay. Then it looks grounded. Now I'm going to choose to use the gold twine to tie around the vase, and I'll do that now. And I'm just going to use a very small dimensional, or the mini dimensionals. put that on the twine and then slip that underneath, and that will hold that in place. That way it doesn't slip and slide around while you're trying to tie it. Giving you quite a long piece because this twine tends to unravel quite a bit, and it's very difficult, if not impossible, to tie once it's unraveled. And then just adjust, and then just go ahead and trim these tails a little to the length that you want them. You could have them shorter than that if you wanted. And then you could use a glue dot or even like a half a glue dot to place under that knot, just to make sure that doesn't unravel any more. Okay, then from there, I think I can go ahead and put this onto the Night of Navy panel here. Now I've used, out of the Boho Indigo dies, this little sprig die and the one of the leaves. And on the sample I used crumb cake, but on this one I thought I wanted to try using the brushed metallic foil. I've just got some little pieces of that. So the brushed metallic foil comes in kind of a champagne-y color, a gold, and a bronze. So I've used this light color for this one, and we'll just tuck those in. We'll see if we like that better. And I'm going to keep these fairly long, the leaves, because we've got quite a bit of white space up at the top. There we go. And then our flowers, they actually had to come from a different stamp set. They are from the Builder Wreath stamp set, die set, sorry. And you've got these little flowers in there that are quite cute, and they were just the right size. So I did some saffron ones and some Rococo Rose ones, and I've got one purple posy. So I'm going to put the big flower up on a dimensional. I'll put that over to the side here, and then I'll put one of the little ones up on dimensionals and then the other ones down flat. So this one we'll put about here and put that. And then for our flower centers, I have the gold glitter enamel dot, or I was wondering if these champagne rhinestones would look good. I think I'll stick with the gold glitter enamel dots, because they look quite nice with that foil, I think. Okay, and we just have, I think, one more layer. So we're just going to use these same sizes, the same die with the Night of Navy, and then the very vanilla inner. And we'll stamp the words that are in the Boho Indigo set called A Bunch of Birthday Love to You. And I'll put that kind of down here in the lower left-hand corner. We'll go ahead and put those together. And with this one, I'm going to use glue because I'm going to kind of adjust it. So I found the easiest thing to do was to kind of just put it underneath this one and then just sort of adjust it. That's why we use glue, until it's sitting right underneath that one. Then I've cut another sprig out of that foil, the brushed metallic foil. Just put a little glue on that. We'll put that over here in the corner. And then just get a flower, just any color that you have maybe left over from the front. I'll just grab a Rococo Rose one and add another flower center to that. Okay, and there we go. So I hope you enjoy. So if we run through the basics again, basically you just need one size of die to create a hole all the way through the middle of the front of your card. And then use that same die to create the mats for the pieces that will slip inside of it. I hope you enjoy that. And there's, you know, lots of different variations you can make with this design. And thanks for watching. This is Jackie. Bye-bye.